Hi people of the internet, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about a new word which is obscene. So the reason why I just want to share this word is because so that you can also use this word if you are referring to something morally incorrect, or should I say something that you can use if you are referring to someone who is rude sexually. Like for example, let's say sexual offenders, sexual predators, and sexual offenders. So those are the nouns that you can use if you are referring to something obscene, because obscene is happening with those people who are sexually offenders. And I know for a fact that there are a lot of materials or go-tos that this obscene is happening. Say for example, on the internet, right? So we all know for a fact that when you go to the internet, you can see obscene stuff there, obscene pictures and obscene videos. So and it's inevitable because of course nowadays our technology is progressing, and the more we progress, the more we can access to different things that are sometimes not suitable for young audiences, for minors, and for some reason they are able to access that because, of course, persuasion, and because of influence, and because perhaps parents don't know that, so that's why they are inclined to do that, or maybe because of their friends. So I would say that obscene is happening because I think it's already part of our lives. For example, if they see magazines, so I know that when it comes to magazines, there are contents that are not suitable for minors, and for some reason you know, they could suddenly flip through that and see images that are obscene, right? So that's the problem. So I remember when I was young, I would say that photographic magazine back then was the trend. It was quite a demand for for people, because of course internet was not yet invented. It was not yet a trend, and I think phones were not also popular, right? The only popular back then was SMS, something like that. So yeah, you can send SMS, and I think it's difficult to send SMS because yeah, I think there's also pay for that. So I didn't even know about SMS. I just heard that, and I didn't try that actually. But now, since we're having a messenger, you can definitely send the pictures, especially if they're referring to obscenity, right? If someone is promiscuous or perverts, I believe that he has those pornographic stuff that he can keep in his house, because maybe that's the thing or the source of his relish. And I think it's really normal for guys. So yeah, so that is pervert. And by that, if this person is promiscuous or pervert, then he has to keep that for his sexual satisfaction. Or if this person is, let's say, shy to even court girls, so he can just satisfy with those pornographic stuff, so that he can feel even better when it comes to his sexual life. But I think it's not normal. It's kind of bizarre because, of course, if you're a normal person, you can just court girl and meet girl for you to be your girlfriend, right? So yeah, that's a problem when it comes to being shy or kind of demure guy, who is afraid of rejection. Because I know for a fact that if someone courts girl, for example, a guy courts a lady, and lady rejects the guy, So I think it's hurtful for the guy that is being rejected by the girl, and sometimes that causes rebel in a way that, for example, if the guy is so obsessed with the girl, and then the girl didn't say yes to the guy, so that will cause something detrimental or threatening, because of course it's difficult for the side of the man. So the tendency there is the guy has the potential to rape the girl because because of obsession, and because of not accepting the fact, the reality that this girl doesn't love the guy. So I think that's a potential kind of, I mean, let's say that's a potential or possibility. That's a possibility for for men to do, because of course, let's say that the guy is hurtful when he hears the decision of the girl, that the girl is not interested to love the guy. So that's the case also. And what else? So obscenity is also happening through stranger folks, right? For example, actually most of them are, let's say, in Arabia, or part in Middle East, because when I accepted friends, so I sent friend requests to different nationalities. So from Middle East area, and other part of there, because I want to meet many friends, so that when I'm going to start my YouTube channel, they can watch my video, support my video. But it was the flip side, because instead of them appreciating my video about English, they are sending me photos that are obscene, like showing their dick pic, something sexual that is very offensive to me. So I know that it's not good. It's I would say it's worse, because I don't know why. Because I don't know, I don't feel that way. I just want to have a friend that will value me as a person, and not thinking of me as a sex object. Actually, they sometimes video call me and showing their private parts. That is so offensive, right? So that's something that I really don't want to happen, because I don't know, I don't pay much more attention on that. I actually pay attention to vlogging. That's really my thing right now. It's my community, and it's something that I really want to grow. Let's face it. But unfortunately, for some reason, yeah, you cannot really avoid folks that are, let's say, lewd, let's say, promiscuous and pervert, and that's a problem. So yeah. And aside from that, obscenity is also happening on apps, right? So for example, on Grindr. So let's say, for example, that the guy that you're going to meet is promiscuous or pervert. So instead of you having a juicy conversation, like getting to know each other, knowing knowing something that you will inspire from that person that you're about to meet, but eventually the person that you're going to meet is sending you obscene photos. So sometimes it's really, it turns off. I mean, well, for me, that turns me off, because I'm a kind of person that I just want to know first the background of someone. If someone is civilized, if someone is, even though the person is not educated, it doesn't matter, as long as he has gravitas, dignity, and good behavior, good personality. That is a big attraction to me. Because I don't really look at someone who has good look, because sometimes it can fake you. Even though you want to love someone who has good look, you're not really sure if this person who has good look will conform, will love you the same, or will, love you the way he loves you. So, I mean, it's really, I would say it's really impossible sometimes to meet someone that will love you authentically or genuinely or unconditionally. Because, of course, nowadays the world is different. And I know for a fact that it's difficult to find someone that will love you unconditionally. And that's something that I'm looking for. That's why I never have, relationship. Because I don't believe in loving someone without unconditional love going on. So that's something that I really value as a person. And that's also the reason why I don't want to have relationship. Maybe I don't like commitment so much because I don't know, it's not healthy for me, because I would only accept the reality of love or relationship or commitment if unconditional love is going on. But I know that this is the flip side, which is, of course, um, we all know that sometimes the intention of the person or the guy, for example, that you're about to love is only for sexual pleasure. So I really don't believe in no string attached, because I think it's only about taking advantage one another when it comes to sexually, or when it comes to sexual, but not really when it comes to love. So why else you're going to propose no string attached? So I think that's only about using one another for sexual pleasure and not for love. Because yeah, so why do you have to offer that kind of thing? I think it's preposterous, because if you really love someone, you will not propose that kind of proposal, which is no string attached. So that's why I don't really deal with that. Yeah. Perversion and promiscuous, they are the sources of obscenity. So what the heck is pervert and promiscuous? So those are the two terminologies that use if someone is sexually active. Let's say, for example, at the bar, if the bar is right there, if the guy at the bar right there sees a girl and they are both pervert, so they're going to go to motel right away if they feel the call of flesh. So when they feel the call of flesh, they're inclined to go to hotel or motel in order for them to do something sexually. And I know that it's inevitable, because they, especially if they're kind of rebel, or that is their nature. And I know for a fact that it's normal for people to feel that way. But there's sometimes it's wrong, because why else you should do that if you have lovers, right? So I think it's not right to be promiscuous and pervert, and then eventually meet different people, different partners, in order for his or her pleasure to be in order for his or her feeling to be satisfied sexually. So that is really happening, and I know that it's actually happening in different places. Like for example, in the street or on a street. So it actually happens on street. Like for example, let's say we have people that are, let's say, sex workers, right? So I would say that is part of obscenity, because so the reason why they're there, especially in Avenida. So I actually work in Quiapo before, and there are a lot of people there that are, let's say, selling their body for money. And I am not against that, because I know that they're only doing that because they don't have money, and it's really difficult to look for a job, especially if you have lack of education. And it's actually easy money, because when you do that thing, when you do that activity and after a few hours you can already have money, and you can do that so many times if you want to. But the bad impact is of course your body. So your body could actually infect diseases such as HIV and AIDS. So that's also the problem when it comes to, to selling your body. And when I saw that, I felt pitiful for the folks who are, sex worker, because yeah, I'm so pitiful for them because they have their family, and even their husbands allowed it, because I saw them like living on a sidewalk, and then they're already satisfied sleeping there because I believe that the apartment, or let's say bed space, is so expensive if you live in Manila. And experienced that before, because I when I quit my job in Quiapo, Manila, because I supposed to look for a job which was in the BPO industry. And unfortunately, when I was looking for apartment, it was kind of pricey, like 2,000 pesos or 3,500 pesos just for bed space. So what more if I'm renting for an apartment, right? So it was so difficult for me to survive. So what I did was I just went back here in the Senate City, because I know that even though I'm living in the Senate City, I can still survive. So I can just plant like sweet potatoes, vegetables, and so on and so forth in order for me to survive. And it's also kind of raw, organic kind of living, because first I don't want to, to experience the pollution in Manila. I don't need to meet toxic people. Toxic people, because of course we all know that most people that are bad, like they're horrible, they are awful, they're like stealing money or robbery bank. There's so many violences going on in Manila that I was so anxious about. So maybe I just adapted that feeling. So when I went back here in the Sena, so I adapted the feeling of being curious and conscious all the time what's going on around me, because all of a sudden something bad will happen, like for example shooting. So I experienced that shooting when I was in, and didn't actually experience, but I saw different circumstances like shooting people because of, they're going to hold up the person in order for the person to get the money. So so that was so, I would say, exacerbated, because in order for them to survive, they have to do something illegal, something detrimental and threatening. So that's why I am so scared to live there. But I had no choice but to keep going in order for me to survive. Because life is about survival of the fittest if you live in Manila. I actually, it happened to me where and I was in a jeepney, and while the driver was waiting for passengers, eventually the guy snatched my phone. So I was in Cubao, Quezon City. So it was already 11, or no, actually it's already 1, break of the dawn, 1 a.m. And because I went to the bar, it was my day of the following day, and eventually the guy snatched my phone. It was Samsung Duo, something like that. So it was so sad because yeah, that was valuable to me. My contacts were there, my pictures, my Facebook account. So unfortunately, I lost it. I didn't approach the guy because I was shaking inside. I was shaking inside because I know that if I approach the person, something bad will happen to me. So I just stayed in the jeepney and waiting for the jeepney to go to Quiapo. So that is such a horrible share, because that's actually my second time. So excluding that, I also experienced when I was in where is that? It's near 168. Yeah, Binondo, Manila. So is that Binondo, Manila? So yeah, it's actually in Tutuban. So when I finished shopping clothes because I love fashion back then, when I was on a jeepney, there was a guy who suddenly snatched my phone. But the good thing was he didn't grab it. He grabbed it, but it fell. So I was still lucky because I took back my phone, and the snatcher was defeated because he didn't get it. But I was so lucky that time because, of course, he didn't got or snatch my phone. So I felt happy. And actually, when that happened, I was so shaking inside. It's so sad that there are people who are doing bad things to their fellows in order for them to survive. And I know they have reasonable reason. Maybe I'm not saying that not a lot of snatchers are bad. So maybe the reason why they're doing that is that it's difficult for them to look for a job, and they have no choice but to do that. Perhaps they're going to feed their family. But if I were them, I would just look for a job that is better. I mean, the job that is legal, where they don't need to risk their lives to the to the policemen who will catch them once they are caught. So that is so bad too. So yeah, it's better if they're going to look for a job that will benefit them, something legal, something that they will not hurt other people physically and emotionally, because it's also sad on the side of the victims, right? Because of course they are also doing their job in order for them to feed their family, and suddenly snatchers would do things that are against them, right? So obscenity is also happening when it comes to modeling. So there are actually a lot of male models, male victims that they were sexually abused by perhaps their managers or someone who was taking care of them, and then instead of taking care of them, something sexual happened. And I know for a fact that it's difficult for models because they're being trapped. As a matter of fact, there was actually a confession from Mario, who he's actually a male model. He's actually a male model, and he confessed that he was being abused, and there was penetration going on, and it was difficult for him because he thought that it was normal, and he kept that for a long time. And when he was ready, he was able to put it out on his social media or on his YouTube channel. He actually put out that nightmare on his YouTube channel, and I watched that, and it was so heartbreaking because I don't know why models. I mean, let's say for example, those who are let's say someone who, let's say for example, a manager, right? So I don't know why those managers are doing things that are against individuals, like let's say for example models, right? I don't know why they do that. Maybe it's a trap or it's like a blackmail, because of course I would say it's blackmail because if the model didn't agree with this let's say promiscuous manager, um, if that offer didn't agree by male model, I know that their career would end. Their career would end. So all they have to do is to take the proposal or take the proposal that it's okay for them to do something against them. Like for example, having sex instead of them having, having a, let's say, friendly environment or pure kind of people around. So instead of that happening, that didn't happen because life is about predator and prey. So sometimes you have no choice but to take it, to take the bait, to take the trap in order for you to make money, right? So that's why it's really difficult to live in a world that is full of predator, because no matter how much you defend yourself, if you are inferior, sometimes you can defend yourself, but to surrender and agree with the demands or the order of superior people, and then this is, I mean, and they are the people who are powerful, rich, bankable, because they can buy anything. So you cannot hide anything if you're only an inferior individual. So that's, I think, what happened to Mario. So it's so sad because, yeah, he experienced that. And the reason why his content is all about, something promiscuous, something pervert, is because he experienced that. Because actually, whenever watch his video, the content of his video is about something sexual. Like for example, how big is your schlong by Mario, something like that. But of course, I still support him because I think, yeah, he went through something worse, and I know that we have to support him because that's the thing that he wants to do, and yeah, I think he can also monetize or make profit from that, because if there are a lot of people who are watching this video, then yeah, he can make money. And I think that is I would say, the pay, or he deserved to be known, because his story is very brave. Because of course, if I were him, I don't know if I would also come out to people and confess to people what happened, because it's not easy to decide, it's not easy to confess your nightmare, right? So he's a brave person, and his story is so wonderful, very, I would say, very brave, because I know that not a lot of people will come out from their shell and be confident enough and be, truthful to say what's on their mind and to get things right. So obscenity is also happening. For example, you have your neighbor, and your neighbor is circulating your house. So going around your house to see peephole, or let's say loophole or peephole, something peephole, and then suddenly, if the guy is sex maniac, and the guy is finding loophole or peephole in order for this guy to peep or to see what you do inside your bathroom, right? So that can possibly happen. For example, if you have uncle, and your uncle is also a part of your family, and we all know that not a lot of uncles are nice to their stepsisters, so they tend to sexually harass them, to pick their private body or private parts, because that's their sexual satisfaction. Actually, it happens on, I think, on let's say magpakailanman, right? So yeah, there's different kinds of circumstances that could possibly happen because of human nature, because of call of flesh. So call of flesh is very normal for folks who are sex maniac, or let's say sex predator, because that's their satisfaction. They feel happy doing that, even though they can hurt someone, they can yeah, they can hurt someone, and sometimes that is okay to them. So I think that is insane. I would say that's insane because why do you have to do that thing, to do that malicious acts if you know that you can hurt someone, especially minors, right? So I think there should be punishment for those who will be caught doing activities that are inappropriate for kids, for minors. And I know that that's still happening. So I hope that they can still push, the protection for kids. And because of course, if that is going on, that is kept. I mean, if that is still going on, there will be a lot of men who will do that too. So I think little injection happened a long time ago when the president was, I forgot, maybe Cory Aquino or Fidel V. Ramos. I don't know, I forgot. But yeah, that's actually implemented a long time ago. And I'm not sure if that would be put to use again, if they will implement again. So that's so sad. I actually watched a movie about that. It is like the title was Animal. So it happened because the predators there, the sexual offenders were very rich, very known, very established people, and the acts happened by. I mean, it happened. How can I explain this? It happened when there were a couple of men who were sons of rich people, so they had they had potential to threat girls, especially in universities. And unfortunately, that happened. So there were many victims, many lady victims that died due to their perversion and being promiscuous. So they killed girls or ladies. They slayed them. They killed them. So there was one scene when it happened in cemetery. So it's so heartbreaking for ladies who are suffering that kind of worse experience because they don't deserve that. And still it's happening. I don't know why there are a lot of men who do that to ladies. So maybe they are under the influence of drugs. That's why they have tendency to do that. Because if they are normal people, normal men, then they would not do that to the girls or to ladies. But they do that because that's their satisfaction. They feel happy doing it. They feel ecstatic even though they know for a fact that it's hurtful and would be a nightmare because I know that it's going to be a nightmare not only to the victims but also to the members of families. So yeah, so that's why when they were convicted as rapists, so they were sentenced to die. I think it's electric. No, it's actually I forgot the punishment, but yeah, I think it's lethal injection. So maybe I'm going to confirm first because I forgot the story of that. But yeah, that's so heartbreaking. And the good thing there is the girl escaped from the rapist. So yeah, it's so sad. So this is actually happened a long time ago. This is about a group of men. So they were a group of men, and what they do was they were trying to meet different girls, and after that they're going to physically abuse them. They're going to beat them in order for them to rape the girls. So that's so sad, I would say, because because the reason why they were doing that was because they were rich, they were well known and prominent in the Philippines. So of course, if you have, let's say for example, if you're well off and you're able to buy the things that you want, then you can actually evade different cases that will file you. So most of the cases will be dropped because yeah, you're powerful. You can actually buy the law. So that was what happened. So yeah, so these men were very troublesome. They like to get into riot, get into trouble, and get into fight. So, and that's why, of course, I believe that if someone is fighter, or let's say the group, if the group is a fighter, they like fighting, it is also include like abusing women. So they abuse women. So they're actually siblings. Actually happen in a room or house that was private. So they were siblings and they were abused. They were beaten and they were raped. So they were really helpless because no one could see because they were in a room and no one could see or notice what was happening. So unfortunately, when abuse happened, they were drove to a street. Yeah, so they were drove on a street, and then when they went to the street, that was not the end of their hardships that they experienced. So that was not the end. There's another game, which is it's like they had to escape from the torture and from the beating of these three men. So those include John Regala and then Garda Sosa. So, but I would say that Garda Sosa was the kind one because at the end of the day, he realized that what he was doing was immoral and wrong. So there was also a moment that he should have killed himself. He could have committed suicide because it's like he was regretful with his actions. And so Gardo Versosa was remorseful and regretful with his actions. He realized that those were wrong, and he shouldn't have been made friends with John Regala and friends because they were atrocious. They were doing illegal activities like abusing ladies, different ladies during that time. I don't know if that's true to life, but yeah, I think it's actually a wake up call and eye opener to the girls, ladies out there that they have to be careful before they deal with somebody, especially men. They have to do background check first because at the end of the day, the most important thing is you are safe. Yeah, he was supposed to kill himself, but the good thing was he refused it. He didn't continue it because, of course, we all know that it's not a right thing to do. So when that happened, he realized that his action was wrong, and when they were about to battle in a court, of justice, the good thing was Garber Sosa was exonerated, so he was not convicted as the rapist because yeah, there was evidence, and he was proven as innocent because for some reason he was repentant and he realized that what he did was wrong. So he was lucky. But the rest of his friends were imprisoned and they were sentenced to die and they were they died through little objection. So that was the fate of their lives. Another source of obscenity is the show of Mr. Fu. So with regard to Mr. Fu's episodes, so he's going to interview different guys. Like for example, how big is the size of his private part, and then would you prefer, choosing gay or matrona, something like that. So I don't, yeah, I would say that this is also part of obscene or obscenity, because yeah, it's not really suitable for young audiences, and I don't know why they or he has to interview that way. So yeah, if you want to learn, I don't know actually learn, but yeah, if you're interested to get to know about that, about entertainment that is, I would say, for folks that are pervert or promiscuous, especially gays. So you can actually check out his channel. His channel is Mr. Fu. So he actually interviews different kinds of men there, and then he's going to interview anything about the guests sexually. So he only asks about his interest with gays, and then he's going to ask if you have relationship with same sex, or if you have experience with matronas or something like that. So those are I would say those are the different questions that is going to ask you. Of course, if you are, if you have a nice body, if you have athletic body, toned body, or as long as you are famous. For example, if Mr. Fu discovered this guest on Twitter, so he's going to interview this guest about anything sexually. If for example, he came across that guest on Twitter, because I would say that Twitter is also one of the go-to entertainment of gays, because of course there are a lot of porns there that you can watch for you to entertain yourself. And so there are many contents points about gays, heterosexual, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think that is a go-to entertainment of folks who are lascivious, pervert, or promiscuous. And I know for a fact that it's normal. Of course, we are not saints. So sometimes we actually experience that. We go through that, and that is normal. But of course, there should be limitation, because I would say that it should not tolerate, because of course you still have to focus on your dignity and your being. So it's still nice if you are a civilized person, because if you're a civilized person, you can have a better life instead of getting into a lifestyle that is about, especially if you're promiscuous, right? So yeah, just try to choose the path, lifestyle wherein your life is normal. Like you have to stop going to party, because I would say that going to the party is also one of the sources of, I would say, obscenity, right? So even though you try to stop doing that, it happens, because that is very normal. And yeah, in my case, I have stopped going to the bar because I feel like it's not anymore fun, it's not juicy, it's not interesting. But I really miss that actually, because when I was in, let's say, at the bar before, so I love the entertainment, I love the stand-up comedians, the gays. I would say that the vibe, the experience was incredible. But then I realized that my life was pointless, I mean meaningless, because yeah, I was not able to save money, and my lifestyle actually revolved around partying, drinking liquor, hopping from one place to another. So I was like late bloomer because I didn't experience that when I was younger. I felt like teenager when I reached my 20 or my 25, yeah, till 30. So, but I didn't regret that because yeah, all we have to do is to to make the best of what we want to do in life. So, relative to obscenity is also the story of Lil Nas. So, I would say that Lil Nas is the first gay rapper that was so loud and proud to to say that he's gay, and I really support that idea, his existence in music industry, that is very confident, very open, and very yeah, very bold when it comes to his artistry. And the reason why I would say his content with regard to music industry, with regard to his music, is that yeah, he's actually incorporating something lascivious, or something that shows promiscuity and perversion, because yeah, as you can see his videos, his music videos, there are contents about like nudity, like kissing same sex, and something obscene, right? But yeah, I would say that there's nothing wrong with that, but it should be done wherein only adult folks could see and not the young audiences. Because, of course, we all know that being a gay should happen naturally and not by persuasion or by brainwashing. Because, of course, we should not make a lot of genders to be homosexual or gays. I believe that gays is only existing by nature and not by influence, because they have their own gender to be proud of themselves, and not to inspire someone to be like gay, because that is not their personality and that's not who they are. So yeah, I think it's better if he just try to inspire gays to have freedom, to be confident despite that racial discrimination is going on, like being homophobic. So of course I cannot please everybody. There's still people around the world, especially in the Philippines, that are homophobic, and I understand that. So if that's the case, if I feel that someone is homophobic, I just try to try to get away, because I know that I'm the one who should adjust, because I'm special and he's normal, right? So if that's happened, yeah, I was just trying to understand the situation, and then know that I'm here, I'm safe, I'm special, I'm different, but I'm harmless. It's actually the persuasion of Lil Nas. If you guys are familiar with this album, and I know that he has a lot of followers, so I'm here not to say anything against him, but my point is, yeah, we just have to respect one another's perspective when it comes to gender. And I actually support his persuasion, to let people respect gays, because we still need to be respected. But I think what I really don't like about it is, yes, making a lot of people to be gay. So I think that is preposterous. and ridiculous because you cannot force every individual to be gay, and I think it's common sense, right? So yeah, I just share his contribution to music industry because I love music. I sing songs, so his existence is also interesting when it comes to music because I love music. So yeah, what I really wish for him is for him to slice music, entertain a lot of people, and be happy all the time. So I mentioned earlier that with regards to obscenity, it's only not happening, physically. Like if you encounter someone and you guys go to hotel or motel and do something immoral. It also happens online. Like for example, or if you are a big fan of, for example, Grindr or watching porn on Twitter. So those are the go-tos of folks who are, I would say, pervert and promiscuous because there's no other choice. Or else, if you want to go to Lanata Park and explore the place there and meet guys at night, so that would be possible. But nowadays, I think that that's not the trend anymore. The trend now is, of course, through social media because you just have to exchange contacts and let's say exchange information, and after that you guys can already deal with whatever proposal or plan that you guys are about to do. So yeah, it's actually more convenient and I would say kind of safer rather than meeting someone out of the blue. So, but I think there's still no safe place because no matter how hard you think that this person will be safe, you cannot actually predict what will happen in the future. So we still have to be careful with the people that we are dealing with, that we meet, that we stumble upon, because I believe that regret is always in the end. So I think we still have to be safe and make sure that you have to have background check first because sometimes it's not, I mean, it's terrifying if you realize that you made a wrong decision. So as early as now, all you have to do is to think many times before you decide, before you meet someone, because you never know if this person is safe or unsafe, or if this person is healthy or unhealthy. So we still have to consider our safety with regard to health, because what if the person that we're dealing with is not healthy? So that's the problem. So that's why for me, I prefer to just stay at home vlogging like what I'm doing right now, because I just want to spend most of my time on things that are, uh, I would say, I can profit, I can be productive, and most especially, I would feel satisfied. So most of the time, I just want to be, I forgot the terminology. Let's say, yeah. So yeah, most of the time, I prefer to be cerebral rather than focusing on that things. I just want to forget about pervert or promiscuous because it will never do any good. And I know that it's not a good decision to always, you know, get to that thing, get to that kind of realm wherein you just have to imperil your life rather than your life to be better, to be respectful, or for you to have a stature, right? So yeah, so focus on things that are productive rather than things that are not productive. So now I'm in a place of inspiring different scientists like Isaac Newton. So I've learned a lot of things from Isaac Newton. So now I'm focusing on being not only cerebral but also being incorporeal. Because I believe that if you prefer being incorporeal, you can be more happier. So incorporeal means you are not focusing on material things, because I know for a fact that if you prefer on material things can fade away, go away forever, right? But if you have the knowledge, if you are focusing on things that are abstract, or that are that are not able to destroy right away, then I would say that's the good foundation and good pillar of your life, because with simple things you can survive. With reading books you're satisfied. So yeah, just focus on little things rather than focusing on major things, such as getting fancy cars, having yachts, having palace. So I think those things are, I would say, impossible, because of course we are not born as king and queen, so we just have to be realistic and authentic, and that's where I am now. I try to get real, because I believe that if you are a real person, then you can inspire other, and they will realize that what you are showing is an inspiration for them to face the reality rather than the fantasy. So if you guys like this meaningful video, don't forget to click the subscribe button down there, so you'll be notified every time I'm going to post and share words of wisdom. Thank you so much.